Welcome, folks, to the town of CraftRiddle, Dwarf Fortress, episode 41. It is late summer. It is almost autumn. Basically, it's the 23rd, so in about maybe 7 or 8 more days. I've stopped playing to record this because something kind of interesting happened. Now, I was in Justice here, and there had been a lot of people doing naughty things. So I was reading the report. Witness said this, witness said that. So somebody got convicted, somebody got convicted, somebody got convicted, somebody got convicted, so on and so on. An injured party there is actually a donkey. But it was interesting because, okay, somebody got convicted. That one's an animal. An animal got convicted. Now, I didn't even notice that until somebody out here actually was hunting. Let's see if I could find the hunter. Yes. And I was looking at what is hunting, and it was hunting a skunk, which I felt somewhat sorry for. But the ranger suddenly says an animal was convicted of a crime. I become so disillusioned. What now? And I was like, what? So that's why I looked back at the record. I'm like, oh, we did convict an animal. And I started laughing because Dwarf Fortress is kind of set in the Middle Ages. I do think there's plans for magic later on in the game, but not right now. Anyway, well, we do kind of have magic. We have zombies and living dead and all that. But the funny part is that during the Middle Ages, animals were put on trial. Some were convicted and some were punished, sometimes even executed. Now you might say, that's the Middle Ages. We don't do that anymore. Well, not really. I mean, the 20th century, they hung an elephant, a circus elephant, I think, who went mad and killed a few people. Of course, it was probably because it got abused, but, you know, that's why they don't have elephants and animals in circuses anymore. And if an animal in the wild kills a human being, the assumption is it will continue to kill human beings because it lost the fear of those human beings and thinks of them as food, like a bear and a mountain lion, and they will hunt down and kill that bear and mountain lion. So, yeah, we do have rules about how animals should behave, even though it's kind of weird that we demand they fit into our society. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And also, Dwarf Fortress does have a history of having weird events surrounding animals. For example, there was a vampire in a fortress a few years back, and everybody saw it drain the blood of somebody in a bedroom. So they all pointed at him and said, you are the murderer. And this vampire, not wanting to be accused of being a murderer because he knew that, he's been caught, he's like, well, I have to point a finger at somebody else. I have to accuse somebody else. So he pointed his finger at the nearest individual and said, that's the vampire. He pointed at a duck. The human playing the game, of course, didn't believe him and executed him. But still, that's funny. Another story was that there was a glitch. A person was reading the history of his world, and he realized in one of the towns, the human settlements, the animals had started a revolution and overthrown their human masters. And the mayor was replaced by a duck. The animals had elected a duck. So, of course, there's a lot of jokes about Animal Farm, and I think the glitch that caused that was solved, which, to be honest, most people were upset about. They thought it was hilarious. But animals in the Middle Ages were treated a lot more differently than they were now. Not better, but differently. And animals in Dwarf Fortress do sometimes cause weird issues. Interesting issues. Like I said, I've convicted a animal. Feel kind of guilty about that. I wonder, I've convicted also a few children of crimes. I don't think the computer, or at least the dwarves, will do anything about that. Though I'm not sure what happens if the kid becomes an adult and they say, well, you have a punishment coming, young man. You're going to be tied up, or whatever. But I just thought I'd show you guys that, because it is somewhat funny. Or at least I found it hilarious. And because of my history knowledge, I thought that was also pretty hilarious that the dwarves were like, why are you convicting this animal? They're actually kind of upset about that. I think they're like, well, that's not nice. While in the real like Middle Ages, that was the norm. In the 20th century, that was kind of the norms. In fact, we have weird ideas of how animals are dangerous or should follow laws and behave and stuff like that. Oh well. Okay, well, I just want to show you that, guys. Soon the trade caravan should be showing up. So that's probably the next episode you're going to see, unless a werebeast shows up. The vampire's still in the hospital, and the werebeast is still stoned up. Wear a mask, social distance, and stay away from vampires or ducks. See ya.